Hello everyone. Here is our next conversion. Yeah, you guessed it right. This is a small multi with Rastan and Rainbow Island that is running on a Rastan PCB. Okay, so the process that I did is very similar to the one I did with Kageki. I analyzed both PCBs. I will show you now how I did it, checking MAME and checking physically the PCBs. And basically what I saw is that they have the same custom chips, which is the important thing. There were some minor differences. One of them is that Rastan has this Oki chip, which is a speech synthesizer. So this is not a problem because we are using Rastan, which is the game that needs that as a donor. But we have an issue because the Rainbow Island is using a custom chip called C chip, which is doing a lot of things. It's not just a simple patch that you can just, bypass a check and you are good to go. So, yeah, the conversion was not, um, let's say, complicated as this one with extra PCBs. You can just convert from one game to the other, and this is the first thing that I did. So basically, I had here running Rainbow Island without this extra PCB, just with some ROMs here, cables, as you can see here. It didn't look so good as in this one, and the same here. So because you didn't need to choose the games, but once that was clear, I made this with the help of Tilesneak. Um, he made these PCBs according to my schematics, and basically now you can choose between Rainbow Island 4 versions and Rastan 4 versions. Okay, why this is good? Well, you can have different Rastan versions. You choose with 1 and 2 if you want Rastan or Rainbow Island, and then with 2, 3 you select the other versions. You can have the original, you can have the Japanese, the bootleg. You can choose and have them all, yes, using one single Rastan PCB as a donor. So let's see how I did this.
Okay, so here we can see the Rastan PCB again. Um, as we saw before, we couldn't see everything clearly with the adapter PCB installed, but here we have two custom chips, 090, 80, and 90. The Z80 for the sound CPU, okay, and 68,000 for the code, which is here. And here we have the graphic data. Okay, this is the sound data. And as I said before, we have this 5205, which is a speech synthesizer. So it's in Rastan, but not in Rainbow Island. So that is good enough for us, because if we use Rastan as a donor, we can play both games. So let's see how this is distributed. I see here B043412. Okay, so these four are going to the 080, and then we have 5, 6, 7, 8, which are these. 5, this is probably 6, 7, 8. They go to 090, which is this one. So these four go here, these four go here in Rastan. Okay, we have some RAM here, oscillator. So now let's see what happens with Rainbow. We see the same custom chips, 080, 090. This is great news. The same 68,000 code here. We see here two EPROMs, graphic EPROMs. Let's see what are these for. And here two mask ROMs, 23 4000, which we don't know yet what they are for which chip. And this is important because, as we can see, the number of chips is different. We have also the Z80 CPU. This is the EEPROM that is running the code. And here we have another, this is a PC 060. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, looks like it's the same one here. Good, 3 custom chips, 1, 2, 3, they are all here. But we have this extra chip in Rainbow Island, which is the C chip. Okay, this chip is doing a lot of things like providing some information during the gameplay, and is being extensively used by the game. So yeah, this is something that we are gonna need to patch if we want to run the game the same as the original. So basically we are gonna have to get the game code, which is here, and patch it so that every access that it tries to make here, it will get the answer that it's expecting. Okay, and this only can be done because MAME emulator is emulating this properly. It has all the data as in the original game, so we know exactly when every read happens what we are going to get. We have all the information there. So yeah, let's see how this is looking here. We have Rastan here. This is the ROM as we load it into the game in MAME. So we have a main CPU here, which is 6 times 64K. Okay, so 6 chips of 64K each. In Rainbow Island, we have bigger data. It's not 60,000, it's 80. Okay, that should not be okay. What we are going to do is that we are going to take the size of the bigger one, which is Rainbow Island, and we are going to multiply this times 8. So then we will have 100,000 in hexadecimal in size, and we can choose between 8 different games that, you know, will have program ROM up to 80,000. So there will be here for Rastan, we will only occupy for each of these 8 slots only 60,000, but that's okay. Let's see what else we have here. The C chip ROM, or is the C chip EEPROM that is burned inside. So this we don't have here. This is what I said before. Audio CPU, yeah, it's also the Z80. We know about that. The code is different. Look at the CRC. So we will have to take care of that one too. But look here, the size is different, so we will have to use the size of the bigger one. Probably in order to make the glue logic easier, I will just take size 20,000. Okay, and I will leave in the Rainbow Island slots 4,000 left, and here 10,000 left. I think it's not a big size, and it will simplify things very much. Now let's go to the PC 080. We see here we have 80,000 in tiles, which is one chip, the B22012. And here we have it split in 4 chips of smaller capacity, 20,000 times 4 is 80,000. So this is good, same size, same custom chip, only that here is 1 chip, here is 4. If we look at the 090, then we can see that this is split differently. We have also one mass ROM of 80,000, and here it is split in 4 of 20,000. Okay, let's look at the pictures. So yeah, we can see here the 090, this is the mass ROM, and these are the 2 extra, which are not in Rastan. And then we have this chip, which is serving this one. So in order to make this work in Rastan, we are going to have to plug here our PCB and split the capacity the same way it's expecting here, okay, and here. Luckily for us, this PCB has already installed sockets. So as these two sockets are only used in Rainbow Island. What we can do is just put here two EPROMs that will be always installed, and it will be these two, and we leave them always there because this chip will not access to them. Okay, we hope, unless there is some CRC check at the beginning, but this is left empty, so we believe that when the game starts it will check the graphic ROMs and so on, and we will leave here these two extra EPROMs that will be ignored by Rastan, but they will be used by Rainbow Island. Okay, so we have some work to do. If we want to make one single conversion from Rastan to Rainbow, which is basically first, we have to go step by step here. We will split the mass ROM into 4 chips, another 4 here, the 2 extra here. Here, I show you before, this is 60, this is 80. So what does it mean? We need to add extra capacity. These are only 10,000 in size, and here we have 4 10,000 and 2 20,000. So what I'm going to do is that probably I will have to change the PAL. Okay, is this PAL, I believe. I will have to change it so that when the CPU is accessing to program ROM, it will create the proper chip enable for each signal, and I will have to put probably here in this line double the size, so they will not be 10,000, they will be 20,000. Yeah, so this is the plan right now to make a single conversion. Okay, let's see how we do this. Okay, so this is how it's gonna look, the patch to convert one single game, Rastan to Rainbow Island. The problem that we have now is that which code should we use here? There is no code that will run this game here. If we use the original Rainbow Island, it will try to access the C chip and will give us an error. Even if we put all these extra signals in the EPROMs, notice that we here install 1001, 010, and again 1001. Okay. So which code should we use here? If we use the original one, as I said, it will throw an error, and it's not something that we can just patch out. If we put the code from the bootleg version, the bootleg version is different, and does not have the custom chips. It makes graphics and sounds in a completely different way. So what can we do here? Let's check the driver in MAME. As you can see here, let's see how many differences are there. So the ROM is bigger. We have 80,000 here and A0000 here in jumping, which is the bootleg. RAM is in the same place. Okay, 20,000. This is the palette, is good. Here we have some extra RAM, good. Okay, here we start with the changes. The ports for deep switches are not there. All these three something are not there, so all the controls are somewhere else. Okay, and then we have here in 3E the PC060. Okay, and here we have the sound latch for the audio part, so this is also completely different. Now in the original we don't have anything in this address space until 80,000, and here we can see that it's accessing the C chip. Okay, here is doing nothing. Here in C000 is where the custom PC080 is located. Looks like this one is a match, but we are not sure yet how much a match is. This one looks to also is not there. This one word right. Okay, we got that one. And then here, oh, what is this? So where the 090 was, now we have RAM. Okay, this is completely different. It is a lot more of trouble. What I'm gonna have to do now is basically they have made this bootleg version based on one of the multiple Rainbow Island original versions. And basically they have just changed the code that is accessing the C chip, the audio chip, and the two custom graphics chips. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to first find in which version they were based to do this, and then I'm gonna find all the difference. Okay, this is going to be a lot of work because it's a couple of kilobytes for sure of differences. When I make a full list of all the differences, I have to see which ones are related to graphics, to video, to the other video chip, to sound, to controls, and ignore them. So I only need to get the ones that are related to C chip emulation. Okay, so I'm going to find all the differences and I only need the ones for C chip. Then I'm going to take those changes in the code in jumping and I'm going to put them in the same original version that they used. With this, I'm going to get a version of Rainbow Island that will work without the C chip. Okay, so then I can test this version in an original Rainbow Island PCB with the C chip removed, and it should work. Okay, then the next step is to take it to Rastan, and this is a very important test because we will know if the C chip is doing something else or we didn't take into account some things. So then is when we can check that actually this conversion is possible, because we will have the game running into Rastan. Only one game conversion. Okay, so this is the next step. After that, then we can take care of having a multi or something like that. So as you can see, you have to go step by step, different phases, until you get to the small two-game multi that is my plan. Here you can see also the sound map. Look, yeah, the ROM size is different between Rainbow Island and Jumping, so there is more here. Also, even the sound chip is different. They are using here 2203 and here a 2151. And yeah, there is no 060. As we know, there is this generic latch. Yeah, this is too many changes. So let's see how I did this. Okay, so as I said, I took Jumping, and the version that they use as a reference was RB Island O. Okay, it's the one that was very similar. There were only a couple of kilobytes in change. So I found this area from 300 to 400 where there was extra data that was not in the original one. And I have to disassemble this, understand what it's doing line by line, and see what it is doing. Okay, so we have here access to 80,000 and or 800,000 and something. Okay, so this is in the no, we need this one. We need the jumping. So this is related to the C chip. Yeah, this is what we need. We need the 800,000, and the rest we are going to ignore. Okay, so we see here 800,000, a lot of them. This we are going to keep in the new version that we make. Okay, I see a write here to this C0FFF0, which is, no, this is the, yeah, this is the 080. So this one I will not include. Okay, and I continue analyzing all the changes. 400. Then we see more changes here. 420,000. This is for the video chip. We ignore some more others to the video chip. Then we see here some other changes. So we have to analyze them one by one, all the changes that I found, and see what they do. Okay, this routine, for example, I saw it's for the deep switches. So this is the routine that it's in the jumping version, and I'm gonna change it for this one. Okay, so we do the same for every single. Here is checking the tilt. Here is making changes to the palette. So look at this, so many changes, and we have here is C chip, the 800,000 that we are looking for, more C chip. Okay, so we see also that is changing some reads and writes to the C chip for 80,000. Okay, here. Why? Because this is how they replace the 80,000 when they were reading data from the C chip. Supposedly, they made some big tables and they put this data in this extra memory area that we saw before here. Okay, I think it was here. Yeah. Here, you see, there is 20,000 more. Let me see. No, not this one. So let's continue with this. Here, more C chip accesses, switching between banks because the C chip has banks. Okay, our 80,000 is what we are looking for. So I see that it changes all these for this. Okay, so this is everything what I'm gonna have to put, because all the replacement of the C chip has been done at a software level. There is not extra hardware, okay, except that extra ROM with some data that I will put. Okay, so it's a lot of work. It's a big job to analyze all these, find what is relevant, what is not, what is graphics, what is sound, what is data. It's a huge work. So once we have finished with all these, I continue. Changing banks, more access to the C chip is accessing to these chips in a lot of places. There is a lot to change. Here I find another change. This is a palette, so we ignore. Okay, so I'm going to put all these accesses to the C chip only into the original version. I have already done that. I tried and it works. Okay, so with not at the first try, of course, I had to change some things, but it works, which is what I needed. It doesn't say jumping, of course, because I use the original ROMs for this conversion, so you will see the normal Rainbow Island game. And once I have done this and I have reached this stage, I can try to make something more interesting. Why? Because this jumping version was famous for having the protection was not fully emulated. So what I had to do, I was starting to make my own version, but luckily I got the help from Gadget Freak, which offer to make a better version of this, and I got a version that is working very well for both the Japanese export, any version of Rainbow Island is working very well. So this was a step that I needed before, which was just testing that this was working, even with the small issues that the original, the jumping bootlet had. I had to check that this was working. So I did it, I changed it, and this is working how it is expected. So what else was involved here? You see some cables. Well, we need to not only add extra signals here, but as I showed before, we needed to split the graphic data. Okay, I will show you now how I did it, and I also had to make some extra modifications that I will show you right now. Okay, so there is something else that I forgot to say before testing this in the real hardware. So there is one extra step that it was to test it in MAME. Okay, it's very helpful for that. So first, I found the difference between Rainbow Island O and Jumping. It was a big analysis and a lot of work. And then I created this special version that only takes the C chip patches and puts them in that version. Then I tested in the original Rainbow Island and it worked. Now I had to try in the Rastan PCB, so I had to first test it in MAME. So basically, I'm taking all this section, all these files are the ones from Rainbow Island. Okay, no C chip here, as you can see, and this is the new version of the code. It's bigger. Okay, pay attention to this because this is very important. This is bigger. What does it mean to us? In MAME, it's just, you change a number here, you compile a new version of mail with this new game that you just added, and you test it. But in the original hardware, it has other implications. Which one are those? Well, basically we have this GAL 16V8, which is generating the chip-enabled signals. So I'm going to use bigger chips because it's not 60,000 in size anymore. Now it's A0000. So what I did is that I put these double size chips and I modified the GAL to detect accesses to these areas with bigger chips because otherwise it will not access to it. Okay, I plug here because these signals were coming here and then to the EPROMs. So that's the reason why I did it. And well, actually Tilesnake was the responsible for making all these tests in the hardware. Okay, so credits for him. And it means that to test it in the original one, I had to create a new equation, which is basically what I did. Okay, this is I have to check what are input pins, which I only know that it's E1, I1, so I have to go to check where it goes in the 68,000 processor, each input, and then I have to check where the outputs are going. Okay, so this basically is this GAL is generating the memory map. If I am writing to this region, it will activate the object chip. It knows that I am talking to that chip. If it's this one, then to this other custom chip. The I/O chip, okay, this is the MD tag, and for any of the other chips that we are talking to. So, but for the program ROMs, which is with the part interesting for us, is these three. So I had to modify these 3 lines of code, and now the 68,000 can see a bigger area of ROM. Okay, this is not a problem for us because we have, you see, after 0, we have all this available. Okay, so this is what we see now after the modification. You can see much better this here. Rastan original has this size. Rainbow Island original has this size, but Jumping has this size. So the new driver that we are going to create needs to have this big size. Okay, which is the same one as in Jumping. So I tested this in MAME. There were 1 or 2 errors I had to fix, but once it was working here, I was pretty sure that with the new GAL that I had handcrafted and this special code, it will run finally Rainbow Island in the Rastan PCB. And this was the most important final test. It will confirm that it's working. Once this was done, then as I said, the next step is to improve the C-chip emulation thanks to Gadget Freak, and then Tailsneak helped me to make this new PCB that I showed before.
Okay, so here is our PCB with the module. Let's try it. Okay, so we have Rastan here. This is the game that is originally in this PCB, so no surprise here, it's working the way it should. Okay, let's get a little bit farther. So this is working as expected. Now let's see. Okay, this is a Rastan PCB. Let's change one of the deep switches here. Okay, it automatically resets. Okay, I can't remember now if this is a different region version, but we only change deep switch 2 and 3. So we are going to do now what is the main goal of this. We're going to change number 1, and let's see what we got here. Okay, illegal extraction. Yeah, I'm gonna have to power cycle this. Okay, that's something different. Okay, some credits. Let's see what we got here. Rainbow project. Rainbow Island, yeah. This is what we wanted. Okay, great. Looking great. Good. Round number 2. Okay, so this is working. It's great. It's exactly what we needed. It took a lot of work. So this is something that you do really because you like to do arcade projects and you like to do cool things and get the maximum out of your PCBs. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this one. Yeah. Okay. Something went black. It reset. And here we have a different version of Rainbow Island. What do we have here? Yeah, it's the extra version. I think that I also added the jumping version, which is not very good, but yeah. So basically we have up to 4 versions of each Rainbow Island or Rastan with a not complicated, simple multi. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It took obviously longer than what you see in this video. There was a lot of error, trial and error, investigation, things that were not clear how they should be done. So you basically remember you're seeing a summary. But yeah, mission complete.